Hey guys, so this video I want to go over something more traditional, tactical, seduction, just how to handle a situation. I usually give a lot of general advice videos on the YouTube channel just to appeal to more mainstream audiences, but from time to time it's important to just go back to the good old-fashioned art, right? So this is how to handle attention from multiple women, and it came up because I had a client get in a situation and he was approached by a couple girls. He was playing an instrument. It's a bit of a unique situation. He was playing an instrument like a jam session or like an improv thing, and he played really well because he's really good at what he does. And he had a girl approach him, and then her friends were like chiming in, and then there was a really pretty girl in the group who chimed in a few times but wasn't giving as much attention as the other girls, and he kind of maybe wanted to go for her, and he ended up just ejecting from the situation and politely excusing himself, which, it's kind of an L. Like, okay, you get all this attention just thrown at you for free, and then you kind of just eject it, which totally happens. I've had it happen tons of times where, I was getting attention from one girl or a lot of girls, and because of my mood or because of my ignorance and my lack of confidence, I just didn't follow through. And at the end of the day, something is better than nothing, especially when you're getting thrown attention, right? But this applies to any situation. It doesn't have to just be girls, walking up to you and opening you, right? It can be you're at a party and you find yourself talking to a couple girls and you think, multiple of them are cute, and, you'd go for either of them. Or, you think a lot of them are cute, but there's one that you really like and you want to go for her, but then you don't want to lose your chance with the other ones either, right? So I want to give you a strategy that gives you the best chance with most of the girls, or even if you don't like any of them except for one, how to nail that one out of the group and then not get sabotaged by the friends, because girls can get just as jealous as guys. Just like if you talk to a girl at a club and her drunk friend who's, been in love with her for years sees that she's flirting with you, and he's thinking, oh my God, this guy's getting farther with her in 30 seconds than I have in, 3 years. So, he'll go up and start acting fucking weird and, whatever. So how do you deal with any of those situations? Well, no matter where you are, you're at a party, you get caught into a conversation with multiple girls, you approach a girl during the day and she has a friend with her and they're both cute, or she's cute but you got to handle her friend who's not so cute, and you want to make sure that she doesn't feel disrespected, whatever, right? You're talking to a bunch of girls, a group of girls. So the first thing you need to do is you need to make sure that everyone feels respected and given attention to. So what happens when you're talking to groups of girls is you're going to be talking to one, and then one's going to butt in. Where are you from? Oh, from da-da-da-da-da. She can be like, oh, I'm from... And it always sometimes feels like, oh, shit. Like, sometimes you're even, like, a little bit surprised. Like, wow, they're just, like, blatantly just throwing out information about themselves. Or they're just, like, asking random questions. And you're kind of just, you'll be talking to one girl. If you've never been in this situation, I guess you don't know. But if you have been, you're talking to one girl and you're like, yeah, okay, I'm actually getting attention from a woman. This is great. Like, even when you're really experienced with girls, you still always appreciate when a girl's, like, flirting with you. You're like, oh, shit, I've had this before, but it's still always really refreshing to see that someone, a pretty girl wants to get to know me. Like, it must mean that I'm not a piece of shit, right? And so she's talking to you, you're like, yeah. And then, like, blah, 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 she asks something about you. Like, oh, I like your shirt, or, oh, what's that tattoo mean? Or literally anything. And then you turn to her and you're like, okay, give you attention, respond. And then the girl you were talking to before goes, well, hey. And sometimes they'll even, like, touch you, and you're just like, huh. And if it's more than two, it can be really overwhelming, because if you're really observant, like, you're watching all of them, and you just see their faces, like, because girls don't often meet a guy who, first of all, is attractive enough that their friends are attracted to them, but second off, even more rare, it's less rare, it's more common for someone to be attractive in whatever way, not just their looks, right, in their behaviors, their fashion, whatever. But it's even more rare to find a guy who not only do your friends find attractive, but he knows how to handle all this attention. So once they find that guy, they're just like, holy shit, look at this guy. He's like, they're not thinking this, right? They're just feeling it. But they're observing, like, oh, here's this guy who my friends are attracted to. I'm kind of attracted to. And then he's, like, handling this so well. He's so polite and well-mannered and charismatic. And, oh, my God. And they're just going to feel this, like, they found a diamond in the fucking sea of garbage, and they're just like, okay, I'm going to probe, I'm going to keep my next questions. And then you, on this end, are just like, oh, shit, it could be very overwhelming, and you can drown very easily. because there's so much pressure on you, right? So my first tip is in the beginning when you're feeling that pressure, that period of pressure will stop at a certain point. You just have to power through that first of all. So when that first period starts, what I want you to do is just give whoever asks for attention, give it to them. Don't exclude anyone, even if it's someone that you don't find attractive, right? Because on some level, I really like to teach guys is try to love all women, even if you don't find them attractive. You want to just love the fact, well, it's the same thing as loving people, right? You want to have compassion and empathy and loving kindness for all beings, right? Even if you don't like them. And this just makes you a really, really appealing person, and it makes you happy. If you don't hold grudges and you don't hold animosity towards anyone, your heart is very light and free, and you just are a happier person in general. I highly advise trying to generate this. It's difficult when there's so many things in the world that you don't like, and especially people who have done you wrong, or they're just assholes, or I'm not saying you have to be their friends, and I'm not saying that you have to, like, every girl you have to, promise to be her love and husband for all life and treat them like a queen. I'm just saying, have that barest level of, I see you. You're a person, and I wish you happiness, and I hope that, you're well. And for this moment that we're going to be interacting with each other, I want to, maybe if I can make you smile, that'd be great. So, with that attitude, you want to give all these girls attention. Yeah, hi, oh, yeah, Not only is this going to make you happier, it's going to make you more attractive. It's a double-pronged effect. Like, it's good in and of itself and what it gives you, and then it's also good in its, strategic value, right? So give them the attention. Because if you don't, what ends up happening is, if you don't give them that bare level of respect and then you go for, the girl that you like, it's not correct of them to do this. It's shitty of them, but there's a chance they're going to sabotage it, and they're going to get jealous. And maybe not at first, but then, they might think about it, especially if there's drinking and drugs involved. They're just going to be like, yeah. She's like, I haven't gotten laid in fucking a year. My ex-boyfriend dumped me, cheated on me. Look at her. Look at Samantha. She's getting all this attention. Yeah, she's the pretty... And these fucking narratives are going to start going through her head, and she's going to intervene. And a lot of times the friend is just going to have to go along with it, unless, she really likes you. She's willing to, say fuck her friends if, she really likes you. But for the most part, if you haven't built, an extreme rapport with her, she's gonna start to pull away because, that's her friend, and you're just a guy she just met. And so without some super strong connection, she's just gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna let go of this situation. And it sucks because I think he's really cute or hot, and I would totally go home with him. And she's gonna eject because her friend got jealous and sabotaged it. And it's either gonna be this slow sabotage, or she's gonna butt in and you can feel her energy, or it's just gonna be hey, let's go. Give them that attention, give them the validation, give them the respect, whatever they ask you, and reciprocate as well, right? And you got to make sure on your face, if you're just winging it and you're just doing it because I told you to, which might be the first times you try it, you're going to be like, oh, why am I talking to you? I'm not attracted to you, and I'd rather talk to this person, which isn't you're not a bad person for thinking that. It's just you could be better. But eventually, once you get genuine about it, they're going to see it on your face, because if you're just doing it for perfunctory reasons and out of obligation, then they're going to see through it. But it's better than nothing. It's better than actually being rude to them. Giving them, politeness is still better than nothing. But if ideally you can genuinely give them the attention, all the girls are going to like you for it. There's no negatives to it, right? They're all going to find you more attractive for your ability to do this, because it's very kind, and kindness is very, very high value. The highest value people in the world are very, very kind and compassionate people. So give them the attention. Then what's going to happen is you want to start sprinkling, you want to start angling attention towards the girl you like. Or if you, let's say, there's a few girls in the group and you kind of like two of them. What you do is you sort of narrow down the contestants. Like it's an episode of The Bachelor, right? You don't give the rose to the girls that you don't like. So you give attention to, let's say there's 4 girls, right? These 2 girls you really like, and these 2 you don't like so much. So first, you serve. It's like you're a bartender and you're serving. You do the wave, because I was a bartender. It's like you serve this person, this person, this person, this, and this person. I usually would always serve the pretty girls, because I guess that makes me a simp, but whatever. You're ideally supposed to do the wave. So boom, 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 boom. Then what happens is these 2 girls, you don't necessarily stop responding to them because you want to be polite. But what you start doing is when these girls ask questions, you give them longer answers, right? You give them, these girls ask you like, oh, where are you from? You're like, oh, I'm from here, da, da, da. Oh, this is what this tattoo means. But if like this girl were to ask you what this tattoo means, you would like turn to her and be like, yeah, so, and then it'd start going into really detail about it. You know, I might even like lightly touch her. Or, you know, if she has her finger next to it, you can kind of like grab her hand and be like, this one means this. Like you get more attention-y, more touchy if it's on that level. You're smiling at her more. You're keeping more eye contact, right? The other girls are going to know. They're going to see this, okay? They're going to pick up on it because they're more trained to observe these things. It's just if you want to understand it, just flip it around. Let's say you and 3 other friends somehow started talking to some really hot girl. And she's being really nice and polite to all of you. And you're all like, all right, fair game, homies, you know, let the best man win. But then she starts kind of looking at your friend more, smiling more. You're going to see it, right? And you're eventually going to bow out if you have respect for your friend and respect for her, right? So then you're going to bow out, even if your butt hurt, right? And that's okay. You're still going to bow out. Their friends are going to see this. But because you gave them that base level of respect in the beginning, they're going to appreciate that, and they're not going to hold any animosity towards you. They might be jealous and they might be envious, but it's much less likely for that envy and jealousy to now evolve into like sabotage level jealousy and envy. But then let's say this girl you really like too, or you're kind of like, I don't know which one, you know, because who knows, you know, one of them can have a boyfriend. And then you like go all in on this girl and then she has a boyfriend. You're like, what the fuck? I got played, you know? So you can either be sleuthy and find that information. I would even just like ask. Be like, oh, so, you know, your girl's out here alone or your boyfriend's here, wink, wink. And then they could be like, no, he's at home. And then one of the girls, they'll pick up on these signals. They should be like, well, I don't really have one, right? Or if one of the ones you do like says, you know, yeah, he's at home, be like, okay, she's off. Because I really, you know, don't go after girls with boyfriends and especially not husbands. Just not worth it. Bad karma. Don't do it. So, but let's say these girls are both single. There's nothing to worry about, you know. You give her this attention after she's talked about, you're asked about your tattoo or whatever. And then this girl, you know, you could kind of, like, let's say there's a pause, right? But you still want to give this girl attention because you really like her too. And you're still not decided who you really like. So you're like, hey, so, you know, give her something. Give her something. You got to be quick on your feet, right? If there's some context of what you talked about, okay, tattoo, right? You could do it and be like, do you have any tattoos? Right? And now, if you're really, really good, you should still be doing this with the girls that you don't like so much because you don't want to completely dry them out, right? This is super important if it's only 2 girls. If it's only 2 girls, it's really, really important that you keep the second girl engaged. Even if you were being polite with her, if you start to veer off too much, she's going to feel left out. So, but you got to do this careful balance because if you do too much of it, she's going to read the signs, right? It's just like a girl who leads you on. It's kind of your fault for being a trick and, you know, getting tricked into it. But it's her fault too because she was giving you signs, right? So she can't play innocent that, you know, oh, I don't know why this guy kept giving me attention. Well, you kept giving him, you know, flirtation and attention back, right? So if you keep giving this girl too much attention, then you can't be surprised if she thinks she has a shot, right? So you also got to be aware of what kind of attention is friendly and what kind of attention is sexual, right? If you're touching this girl, be like, oh, this tattoo means this, or you're lingering in your eye contact, or like when you talk to her, you kind of get like bedroom eyes and you're a little bit more sexy with your talk, or, you know, you kind of touch her, or like while you're talking to her, you kind of check her out. Like girls are going to, if like the other girl's watching and sees that you check her out and smile, she's going to, okay, he's feeling her on that level. When he looks at me, he kind of looks at me more like a friend, right? And the best way to do it is like in your mind, when you turn to the friend that you don't like, just be like, oh, yeah, hello. Treat her like a guy friend. Like, she has a pussy and tits, but to you, she's no different from a guy friend. So just in your mind, picture her as a guy, and that'll kind of shift your behavior. And then with this girl, obviously, just allow yourself to feel the sexuality and attraction that you feel with her. But let's say this girl that you really like, you don't want to, you don't know if you were going to pick between her. So you turn to this girl, and you're like, okay. And you ask her a question. Be like, do you have any tattoos? Oh, no, da, 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 da. And as you ask that question, you know, you're thinking of her on that level. Like you're imagining if she has some tattoo on her thigh or on her butt, you know, you're allowing your behaviors to be a little bit more sexual. Now, of course, this is going to then create a higher level problem, but this is more difficult or more advanced, but it might be, some of you might be needing this information. You could run into the issue where the girls kind of see you as a playboy. That's where being really nice and polite is the most important. Girls are totally okay with you if you're a fuckboy, as long as you're also polite and you treat them like people, right? Most fuckboys, well, I don't know. I've been back and forth on the years. A lot of like hyper players are mostly psychopaths, a large population of them, because it takes a certain level of just like balls to like go for it. And psychopaths just, well, they don't have balls. They just lack like fear on that level, right? They just can't even feel it. It's kind of a cheat code, but it comes with a lot of negatives. But a lot of like general fuckboys who just like to fuck, they're not bad people. They do see women as people, right? But they fail to properly express that. So the highest level like lover of women, right? Not a fuckboy, like a lover. He's very careful. He's not ashamed of his sexuality, and he's going to show it. But women I've seen like really, really love these kind of guys because they love the fact that he's sexual, because that turns them on. They're sexual too. They're sexual beings. But they love the fact that he actually cares about women, and he shows it in the way that he talks and he acts. And so any sort of like, oh, he just wants me for my body, is going to be countered by, I mean, yeah, he's sexual, but he also cares about me. And I may not be the only girl he's fucking, and I may have to like move on one day because, I want something serious. But I can tell he cares about me, and he's respectful, and I don't hold it against him. Like, he's honest about who he is. So that's very high level stuff. For most of you, it's not really something you have to worry about right now. But if you want to avoid the fuckboy trap that happens even if you do all this right, be very, very polite and very, very like warm. And that love, that unconditional love that I taught you, that kind of loving kindness, like if you radiate that, it pretty much counteracts it completely. So you're giving this second girl, attention because you're still feeling her out. And then what you want to do is, it is a little bit of an episode of Bachelorette. Like, who's offering me the best deal, right? When guys are like, you got to be the prize, that's just a mentality. You can't fake your way into it as much as you can try. The only way to become the prize is to become the prize. You have to have the skills and charisma and sexiness that actually makes you someone that multiple women would be willing to, in a kind of way, compete for you. So allow these girls to compete in a fun, lighthearted way. It's not super serious. The literal survival of the species is not relying on, who mates with you. And you could end up sleeping with both of them. But, let them compete a little bit. There's nothing nefarious in that. It's I don't know, I think it's kind of fun, right? So talk to her and let her kind of like do her game. Let her spit her game. Let her seduce you, right? And then this girl, she needs to also seduce you. So if she gets like discouraged by the fact that you're getting this girl attention, well, flip it around. Let's say two guys are flirting for one girl. One guy gets discouraged. Well, what does that demonstrate? Well, he doesn't have as much confidence. The only exception to that is sometimes like you feel like you don't want to step on your friend's shoes, so you'll kind of back off. And what looks like discouragement is actually just like, I don't feel good doing this, right? So that could be, these things get really complicated, like you have to account for so many variables. But, if you want to think about it another way, like if this girl gives up for her friend, like it might make her more attractive, right? So it actually gets kind of complicated, because when I see a girl kind of get like, okay, I feel this urge to like, oh, I want to make her feel better. I want to make her, feel good. But at the same time, this other girl had some more confidence. And so, I don't know, she had some more drive to get me, right? So you gotta, this is more about your personality and what you like about women. I might be more drawn to the girl, actually, who kind of starts to back away. Not because it makes her higher value, like in like, oh, she's trying less hard, but because it makes her seem like the better person who's not willing to like throw her friend on their bus. Like, it gets complicated, right? So anyways, but, play the game. No one's getting hurt here, so let them compete a little bit. And then also, whatever traits evolve, right? It's not some like, who's the best gets my dick. The only womb worthy of this cum is the one who's willing to walk through barbed wire for me. It's not a competition in that sense. It's also a competition in just the sense of, who am I going to like more? Maybe I like more conservative girls, or maybe I like more fiery girls, or maybe I like more quiet, shy types, or maybe I like more booky, intellectual types, or whatever archetypes, whatever combination of personalities you like. People aren't limited to these stereotypes. But, start to choose. Then, when you're ready to like make it happen, either they will just notice. A lot of times they'll just kind of fucking know, right? Because girls are really observant. So even if you like both of them, if you start to edge towards this one eventually will give up. And then, boom, the friend will eject. I've seen it happen so many times. Even if I open this girl and started talking to her, if like in the group of friends I start to focus on this one, she'll eventually get it and go. So long as she feels respected and so long as she trusts you with her friend. I've had girls like, I talk to a girl, then I start talking to the group, and then I end up liking this girl and vibing with this girl. And the girl I talked to in the beginning and her friends, they just get up and leave. And literally left for the night because it was late at night, all the bars were closing. And then I like hung out with this girl and we hooked up. And they left because they trusted me, because they kind of vetted me. They'll usually ask you a few questions. That's what sometimes they're doing. They're not necessarily competing for you. They're actually vetting you because they can see what's happening. They're like, all right, let me make sure this guy's not fucking psycho. So they get to know that you're fine. And then they see she likes you, they can trust you. All right, that's really their only two concerns. The third one is if like they feel disrespected and stuff. But as long as you're nice and polite, then you're going to avoid that problem. They'll leave you and you can focus on her and you can take her home and fuck her. The only time it gets complicated is when usually you're dealing with someone who really likes you or they don't trust you yet. So all of these actions are going to counter any concerns that they're going to have. They're going to build trust. They're going to see that she likes you, obviously, which is the only concern they have. It's like, all right, does she actually like him? And then even if they do have any lingering jealousy or anything like that, as long as you gave them that respect and attention, they're going to be fine with it. So that's how you handle attention from multiple girls. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hector Castillo, girlschase.com. If you want to check out my texting book in the description, What She Really Means, check it out. It's only $15. Check out my King of College book if you want to learn a lot about social circle and group dynamic situations like this. If you want to check out my day game course, How to Meet Girls During the Day, you can check that out in the description below. And if you want to sign up for private coaching with me, I have a link for a consultation call. We can talk for 10 minutes and discuss if private coaching is right for you. It is expensive. I will tell you that up front. So if you're not willing to invest like, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 into, depending on, what kind of level you want to do with me, like how long you want to do coaching, I'll just tell you up front, it's a bit expensive. So yeah. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you very soon. Good luck, and hopefully you get in a lot of situations with multiple girls. And who knows, you might be able to pull off a threesome, which is a totally different video, and I'll leave that for another time. All right, ciao.